What is up, Instagram? Mark Ottobre here. Today, all Victorians got treated to yet another press conference with Daniel Andrews, where he basically eased restrictions, if you can call it that, for those who aren't playing along at home. Melbourne, our cases of COVID-19 are now 1 to 2 a day, well and truly in the single digits. And if you remember way back when this started, lockdowns were being sold to us as a way to flatten the curve and ensure that our healthcare workers were not overwhelmed by COVID cases. And that is something that we could all get behind. And certainly we all did our part, stayed at home, locked down, got those cases flattened. But now it is abundantly clear that our Premier, despite the, knowledge of the rest of the world and the advice of even our federal government, he is ensuing certainly what looks to be an eradication strategy, which just isn't going to fly. And I don't understand why the federal government doesn't step in at this point, because it's very clear. And Daniel Andrews is very good at selling us the seen versus the unseen. And the seen is COVID cases, it's deaths. We can all see it. There were 400 cases today, there were 2 deaths, whatever it is. We can see that, we understand that. But we don't see the unseen. We don't see the effects of this lockdown. We don't see the suicides, the mental health, the shattered dreams, the domestic violence, the drug addiction, the alcoholism, the economic toll that this state is just not going to recover from. We don't see that. And certainly pursuing an eradication strategy now for COVID-19 with Melbourne, what is going to happen if there is no vaccine? What is going to happen once we open international travel and the other countries don't share our same enthusiasm for the no tolerance of COVID-19. I mean, the genie, in my opinion, is well and truly out of the bottle now, and it's going to take coordination the likes the world has never seen to get that back in. I think there's been one virus. I think it was smallpox. No, maybe not smallpox. Don't quote me on that. But there's been one virus that we have been able to eradicate, and the rest, and the genie's out of the bottle, and it's just the part of the way we live, and we deal with it. There does become herd immunity and all those kind of things. But I'm not here to talk to you about all those things in this video, even though I'm already 2 minutes in. What I did want to talk to you and share my thoughts was what caught my attention was Daniel Andrews' comments on the fitness industry. He said something that was just completely incorrect, and I'm here to set the record straight. He said that gyms are inherently a high risk and very unsafe according to international data that they have. Now, I'd love to see this international data, because all international data that I have and have looked at shows the absolute obvious, the opposite. So I wanted to go through that data now and share with you that if you make a claim in anything, if you say, let's say carbs make you fat, you need to back up and substantiate that claim with scientific evidence. And our Premier has not done that in his remarks to the gym, and we deserve answers. If you're going to make claims and put the nail in the coffin of our industry, it better have some damn good reasons for it, and he doesn't. So let me give you the evidence that I have and that shows, and this is studies. I'm going to quote 4 different countries, including Australia, but I'm going to start with Canada. Right, in Canada, they've had another big outbreak in Montreal, and now they've closed all of Canada, same restrictions as we have. But interestingly, when they first entered stage 4, gyms were the first to open and the last to close. I'll just say that again, because I didn't get that wrong. In Montreal, Canada, gyms were the first to open after lockdown and the last to close. Why? Because they don't find them high risk. In actual fact, and this certainly my hospitality friends, you deserve to be open. I'm not saying that at all. But the Montreal government rank hospitality as a higher risk environment than gyms. How about that? That's an international. Yeah. Next one. In the UK, the infection rate is just 0.34 cases per 100,000 visits from 22 million visits in 2 months following the reopening, with 0 community transmission. If we look in the US from 49.4 million with an M million club visits across 2,877 locations in August, found an infection rate of, was just 0.002%. I mean, that's great evidence, it's great data. I mean, that's a lot of club visits. It's almost 50 million club visits and almost 3,000 clubs. That's a lot of data, and over a month with 0 community transmissions. But folks, we don't even have to go that far. We don't even have to go. We can just look at our friends up north in New South Wales who had higher cases than us, and they have been open. Gyms have been open since June. They've been open since June. And there has been no community transmissions. In fact, Fitness Australia did a study showing that from 7.31 million check-ins across 546 clubs in the first 8 weeks after opening New South Wales, there were zero community transmissions, folks. So I've just quoted some data, some very reputable data across countries, across populations. I know there's some data also in some different countries as well that I could add into this. In Oslo, I know they did a study there. And I mean, this is the data, right? This is the data. So when Daniel Andrews keeps getting up on his podium saying that gyms are unsafe, I challenge that, and I'd like to see that data, because the data that I have very clearly shows. And also consider the fact that public transport is about to get reopened in Melbourne. We've been told that it's ventilation and it's indoor and it's all these things that makes it high risk. Well, you cannot tell me that my personal training studio, where I have one person and a trainer, every client has a trainer, wipes down the equipment, does all the right things. You cannot tell me that public transport is safer than a gym. You cannot tell me that is inconceivable. Because you got to remember, at personal training, at gyms, at these business places, we have standards, we have codes, we have ethics. We are ready to play, folks. But I suppose now, no more playing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Share it far and wide. Hopefully it gets heard, it gets seen. We need a voice. I really just want to get this message out there, because it's doing a lot of damage to us here in Melbourne, and it's not fair. It's not fair, because it's not based on truth. And it's not about right, wrong. It's about truth, and the truth is that the truth isn't being shared. It really isn't. And so anyway, share this video and stay strong.